Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you may be listening to us across the entire globe. It's Psychic Talk. And hey, step into the cafe with me. Grab a latte, grab a tea. Let's hang out. And we're going to talk tarot. We're going to talk numerology, psychic development, anything that's on your mind. Maybe professional tarot reader certification, psychic advisor certification, membership in the guild, and uh, basically anything that you have a question on. We are simulcasting on Blog Talk Radio. That means you can call into the show, 714-816-4628. Oh, we have a bunch of callers in there already. That's great. That's great. We are simulcasting also live streaming video on YouTube. So you can come join us over on YouTube and pop into the chat room with me. I see Michelle in there and Eric. Hi, everybody. So people will be flowing in here, and you'll be able to ask questions in the chat as well as dial into the show. And we'll be going to the phone lines in just a minute. Give everybody a chance to get in there. So when you dial in 714-816-4628, be sure to press the 1 on your dial pad. That lets us know you want to be live on air. If you just want to listen to the show, dial in, don't push 1. You're perfectly fine. 714-816-4628 if you want to be live on air with me. And I'm flying solo today again. Getting used to this, not having a co-host. Miss Mary, though. But we did get an update from Mary Brown, and I'll be talking about that in a minute. What else? Oh, I was just chatting with Michelle in the chat room, Michelle Metheny, and she's going to join me as my guest co-host on Monday's show. And then tomorrow's show, it's going to be Pamela Steele. And she's a tarot author and deck creator and artist, if you're not aware, and Tarot Guild staff member here on the guild, and a host here, guest co-host occasionally on Psychic Talk. She's been a guest many times in the past too, when she had different decks and so forth coming out, like the Steel Wizard Tarot. I love this box. It's huge. Anyway, love the new boxes that decks have. And that's something else we can talk about. Decks, your favorite decks. Doesn't have to be tarot, it could be oracle cards as well. I've got the Animal Tarot Oracle deck back here. This is by Bernadette King, by the way. Fantastic deck. It's actually like a couple of decks, and they come in the box separated, and you can use just the tarot, or you can mix them together. It's just really neat. Really, really cool. Okay, so what's going on today? See anybody else coming in the chat? I'm just checking. It's a little early on. Dax a million, Michelle says, from your lips to God's ear. What was I going to say? Oh, we have a new URL to make it a little easier to get to YouTube. It's our website right here, psychic.cafe / but instead of New Year /YouTube. It's that simple, folks. Yes. Here, let me see if I can. Oops, wrong button. I got to pop up the Psychic Cafe URL. There it is. www.psychic.cafe. You don't have to put the W's. You can just put psychic.cafe / like the coffee here, but / God, can't talk today. YouTube, and it'll take you right to the YouTube channel. which is at Psychic Talk. Yeah. So you can do the YouTube URL or just search at Psychic Talk, Psychic Talk on YouTube. But the fast, easy way, I set it up for you minutes ago, actually. Psychic.cafe/YouTube. That'll take you right over there. And you're seeing scrolling by right here. We got 50% off of my reading, 75% off lifetime membership at the Tarot Guild. Go check out the New Year's sale. It's only going to be around for a little bit longer. Look, psychic.cafe/New Year will take you there, or just go over to the cafe, psychic.cafe, and it's pinned, the post for it's pinned to the top. It's like the first or second post. So yeah, go check that out. Let me look at the calendar here. So it's the 27th. The first is on a Thursday. We're probably going to go to at least Saturday or Sunday, probably through that weekend. So I'm going to say we've got about another week ish on the New Year's sale. Not only is the sale going away, but the lifetime membership is actually going away. I mean, maybe not for forever. I mean, I might drag it out on like Black Friday or something like that as a super special deal, but it won't be 75% off like it is now. $78, one payment, $78. You're signed up for life at the Tarot Guild, Psychic Cafe, and you can join us also on these shows. You can promote your readings, you can promote your books and decks and other offerings and services. That's what it's all about. I'm gonna try to turn this URL off here. I'm all thumbs today, so I apologize for jumping around here on this. But yeah, get it while it lasts, because you get my course free. That's a $297 value. You get your certification free. That's normally $124 or two payments of 67. So you're saving, up to $134 right there. And you're paid up for life. So instead of paying, monthly or annually, I think the annual fee right now is $47 a year. So that's $470 in 10 years. So one payment is $78. You're saving a lot of money. Plus, you're getting all these goodies that you don't get with the annual or monthly membership. You got to pay separately for the course. You got to pay separately for certification, things like that. So go ahead and jump on that sale. You can also grab me a cup of coffee right here, psychic.cafe/coffee. New thing we have going on for 2024. If you go over to psychic.cafe/coffee and buy me a cup of coffee, there's buttons there. You can send me $10. You can send me 15, 20, whatever. Hit the button. It's basically our tip jar. But what we're doing for 2024 is, if you do that during a live show and let us know in the chat on YouTube, or if before a show, in between shows, we do a show every day now. That's another thing for 2024. Shows every day. So you can always join us here in the cafe. Well, between shows, you can message me and say, hey, my name is Joe, area code 651. I just sent in a donation, or I bought you a cup of coffee, and I'm going to be on the show tomorrow. So when you dial in the next show, we're going to put you to the top of the list. So we have the caller queue. You push one to get into the queue. Well, you could be anywhere in the queue. I mean, we sometimes go 10, 15, 20 people deep in the caller queue. We have 50 phone lines total. So we will jump you to the top of the list, and no waiting. Whatever we're doing, cards of the day, numerology of the day, a mini topic, an interview, it doesn't matter. We will take your call right then and there, no waiting. So, you call into the show, or you ask a question in the chat on YouTube, there's a chance we won't get to you. Okay. So if you want to be sure that we'll get to you, and if you want your call taken right away, or if you put your question in the chat, we will take your question in the chat right away also. So that is psychic.cafe/coffee if you want to take advantage of that little special we got going on for 2024. Of course, you could still just send us a cup of coffee too. Maybe you're enjoying the show, or you get a good reading or something like that, right? Let's see who else is in. Oh, Maria's joining us as well. Maria G. Moss from The Angelic View, the first and third Sundays of the month. I'll be talking about that in a minute because her show is tomorrow. That's right, the 28th. Same bat time, same bat channel, same telephone number. So write the number down, 714-816-4628. We'll be using that tomorrow. I'll be guest co-hosting on the Angelic View with Maria, and we will be live streaming video on YouTube and simulcasting on radio. Okay. And let's see, what else was I going to chat about? Now I forgot. I forgot one of the things I was going to talk about. It just like went right out of my head here, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. It'll come back up, I am sure. So January 27th, there's a peculiar thing this month, and I think it's going on in February too. I was playing around with some numbers in February as well, and the energy from the day, so the 27th, 2 plus 7 is 9. So the energy is 9. And the energy from the date, so that's the whole date, that's January plus the 27th plus the world year number of 8, 2024, added all together and reduced to a single digit is also 9. So it's like whatever the day is this month, it's the same energy as the date, which rarely happens. And then I think it happens next month too. Not in March though, but possibly February. So that's going to be interesting and all. But we are in a 9-day. So this is the end of a cycle. We're going to have a new cycle start tomorrow on Sunday. Yeah. So we'll talk about that on Maria's show, pull some cards and talk about the numerology tomorrow. Great time to start new things, right? Well, I was shuffling to do the card of the day, and when I cut to the heart of the matter, I got the Ace of Pentacles. Look at that. A new beginning popping up. And, so that is the heart of the matter. Today is this new beginning tomorrow. Very fascinating how that happened. And by the way, this card just keeps showing up a lot. I'll get into that in just a second. But to finish up with the 9, it's the end of the cycle. So, this is the time to look at everything you've been doing this week. Actually, it's not just a week, it's 9 days in the cycle. So what have you been doing the last 9 days, and what have you accomplished? And, what do you have on the back burner that's, you're never going to get to? Maybe get rid of that. I don't know. Get rid of anything that's holding you back, beliefs about yourself, about other people, belief systems, relationships that are holding you back, baggage that you're carrying around, things like that. That's what you do today and get it all prepped up for tomorrow, where you're going to start a nice, fresh 9-day cycle. Okay. Well, this card's been showing up a lot. The world year is 8, abundance and prosperity. And in the beginning of the year here, all throughout January, it's been all about that. I mean, the cards of the day, the numerology coming through, and when we have the discussions, it's all pointing towards that, and how do you get to prosperity and abundance here in 2024? Well, if you look at the Ace of Pentacle cards and card, and it's been coming up, like I said, on and on, throughout this month here. And sometimes it comes up in readings for callers and folks in the chat. Other times it came up as the card of the day or something along those lines. Well, we're in an idyllic setting inside of a garden here. This is our comfort zone. And what it's talking about is to have abundance and prosperity and to, start something new with this ace. You need to leave your comfort zone. You need to go outside of the walled garden here. And outside of the walled garden, it's just desolate desert. It's totally desolate. And in the distance is a hill, a mountain. I mean, we can't tell how big it is, some kind of a summit. At the peak of the summit is the goal, is what you're trying to manifest, is the prosperity that you want to bring in. Well, you have to traverse the desolate land and climb up that mountain. It's the journey of that to realize the abundance and prosperity. But if you stay in your comfort zone and never leave the garden, you're never going to get to that goal. So this is the heart of the matter card that I got. Now, the card of the day is a different card. That's what what I got was the Hierophant. That's right. So this is a card about traditions and rituals. It's about the establishment. It's about higher education. That's a big part of it. I think that that's what's going on with this. Why this card is showing up in conjunction with the nine energy today and the Ace of Pentacles, this new opportunity, which I think that whole thing starts tomorrow. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But the Hierophant, yes, I think that it's simultaneously talking about higher education. I often throw out udemy.com because I just love it because it's so cheap and you can just like study anything in 25 courses of you could take 25 courses of one, on one subject, or a myriad of subjects, and it'll cost you like what, $10 a course, $250 versus a $250,000 education at college. Hey, why not spend $250 and get like 20 different instructors ideas or 10 different instructors ideas, on a topic, right? So hey, what is it that do you already have an idea what this is? This new thing coming in, or some new project you want to start or something like that. Well, today's a good day to pull out those Udemy courses, dust them off if you haven't gone through some that you've already bought. And I know a couple of people that have, like, I don't know, 25 of them in their Udemy account, and they haven't gone through them all. Or just go over to Udemy and search your topic, right? And if it's one of our topics here at the Psychic Cafe, you could enroll in Maria G. Moss's Angel Practitioner course, for instance, which is only, I think it's 222 right now, $222. And then of course my course comes free with, the New Year's sale with the lifetime membership. It comes with that, 78 bucks. There's a couple of things too. But just researching and taking courses, laying the foundation. There's another aspect of the Hierophant though too, because I talked about ritual and tradition and the establishment. Whatever this thing is that you're thinking of doing, um a lot of times this pops up for the opposite. In other words, the Hierophant card will show up sometimes in a reading talking about you need to buck the system. How can you do whatever this is differently than everybody else? So don't do what everybody else is doing or how it's always been traditionally done. Instead, how can you put a new spin, without recreating the wheel necessarily? So that's the multi layers of tarot, where one card could be pointing at like multiple different things there. I'm going to pull another card here just for fun. I want to get, like a little more clarification on this here. Let's see what we get here. The Justice card. I love it. The Justice card. I wanted a little bit more clarification. And so what are we getting with the Justice card? Well, the Justice card shows up when whatever the situation is, there's going to be a fair outcome. It's to point in that direction, a lot of times legal stuff. So if any of you have legal stuff going on, this is a good sign that this is showing up. But in this particular case, considering the numerology of the day and the previous cards, I think what's going on here is it's talking about she's got the single broadsword, kind of like the Queen of Swords, right? Swords are thoughts and ideas, and it's she's cutting through all the garbage and getting to the heart of the matter. And she is looking at the situation analytically, and she's got the scales over here, she's weighing everything. So look at how you've been approaching this and try to get out of the emotional attachment to things that are holding you back. That's the nine energy today. Get rid of the baggage, right? And that's what she's saying. She's like, with the sword, cutting the ties, cutting the ropes, whatever it is that's attaching you to these things. And to you know how you feel about something, and your emotions and your intuitive instincts too are really important. But the justice card is saying you need in this moment to look at it analytically and weigh what you've been doing. Is everything balanced and all? So great that the justice card showed up as well. And I'm going to put those back in the deck here and do a little shuffling. So if you got a question in oh, that's right, Maria corrected me there. Yeah, I get a little frazzled at the beginning of the show here, trying to remember everything to put out and say. And because we're doing a show like every day now, it gets a little confusing what we're doing. So Maria's show is every other Sunday, and it's the first and third Sundays of the month. So her next show is actually February 4th. So I unfortunately won't be on with Maria tomorrow. I would love to be, and in fact, she's welcome to pop on the show with Pamela and I. Pamela Steele is going to be my guest co-host tomorrow, and we'll be going into that one energy and the beginning of a cycle and how to take advantage of that. Yeah, we don't talk about that all the time. Is like, when you're in these different parts of these cycles, whether it's an annual cycle or a weekly cycle or what have you, how do you take advantage? Why the whole reason why you want to know where you are in the cycle is that you could take advantage of the energy of that day. Um, quick example, the 5 energy, which I often liken to Mercury retrograde in astrology, where there's like this high energy, but there's also potential for chaos because when it's Mercury retrograde, that's when we have all the technical problems and electronic problems and things, with the shows and everything. And we can't get into, we try to dial in, we can't get into Blog Talk, or our guests can't call into Blog Talk or something, callers can't call in, or the recording, we record it, but then the recording's corrupted and we can't use the recording. And oh my God, those kind of technical things happen. Yeah. But in addition, what people discount is the fact that it's a high energy time during that Mercury retrograde, right? Same thing with 5. So you're on a 5-day, you can take advantage of the energy and get a lot more done than you would normally get done. So that's just one example out of the 9 numbers about taking advantage of the cycle. Where are you in the cycle? Same thing with your personal year number and knowing where you are in that cycle. We did some shows earlier this year. Maybe I'll touch on personal year numbers tomorrow if I think about it again, because in the beginning of the year, it's really important to know what the world year is. 8, abundance and prosperity, but also where are you in your own personal year cycle? And then you can look at that in relation to the world year, and then know what to do, and you can set yourself up for success in the year. So it's important to know that in the beginning of the year. My last client, the last client that I did a reading for yesterday, actually, her personal year is always the same as the world year. She's one of those very few lucky people that it just so happens that their cycle lands that way, where if we're in an 8 world year, they're in an 8 personal year. They don't even have to calculate it. So she's in an 8 personal year, in an 8 world year. Also, talk about synchronicities and interesting things like that. Catherine had to postpone her show yesterday. And I guess I should announce that at the beginning of the show, that yes, Catherine is going to do her wrap up for her January shows. She's going to record it, and then we'll broadcast it like next week sometime, because she's starting her February shows next Friday, so she needs to get that January wrap up in, right? But she had to postpone. And because of that, I was able to do that reading with my client yesterday. We were trying to figure out where to fit in her reading, but when she's available is you're usually during, like the prep for the show and when we're doing the show and like the post edit and everything. Um, Even though, Catherine's on for a couple of hours, and even though I'm not on the show, I'm doing the technical background stuff. So my computer is tied up, my phone is tied up, during the whole show. But because she canceled, I was able to message my client and say, hey, I'm available right now. Are you available? And she's like, yes, I'm available. Oh my God. And so we jumped on. Turns out it's his, and I didn't even notice this, even though I did her numerology. It was her birthday yesterday. I could not believe it. Lisa. So happy birthday again, Lisa. And we had a great time. It was an awesome reading. She's the one that her life path, sorry, not her life path, her personal year number matches the world year number, and her life path. Oh my God, she has the same life path as me. She's a master number 33/6. So we got along famously, and I was able to explain to her, what she's supposed to be doing with that master number 33. We should do a show where we just talk about master numbers in the near future, I think, because we haven't talked about that in a while. Doing some shuffling here. So let's see. I don't think there was any questions, was there? Taking a look here. So we did find Michelle's going to start off the week doing a show with me on Monday to start off the week. Great there. Charlotte's in there. Hi, peeps. And yeah, and Maria said hi, and she told, she reminded me about Pamela Steele's going to be on the show tomorrow. It's not Maria's show. The Angelic View will be on the 4th. So no questions in the chat yet, but if you're watching us on YouTube or anybody that comes in, if you want to join us in the chat on YouTube, remember it's psychic.cafe/YouTube will take you right over to our channel now. I don't know why I didn't think about making a simple URL for it earlier. Because when you're giving it out on air, and talking about, the .cafe, the / the @ psychic talk, it gets a little bit tongue twisty, and also, for the people listening, especially on radio, it's hard for them to understand what you're talking about. So, I made it a little easier now. Psychic.cafe/YouTube. Psychic Cafe/YouTube. Real easy. Alrighty. So while we're waiting for some questions in chat, let's go over to the phone lines and see who's been waiting the longest over here. Looks like area code 330. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? 330, are you there?
Hey, Dax, it's Wes. Yes. Hey, Dax, it's Leslie from Mississippi.
Leslie. Hi, Leslie from Mississippi.
All right.
We talked before, didn't we, Leslie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been several weeks.
Yeah, it's been several weeks, but I remember a Leslie from Mississippi before. So what's going on? How you been?
I've been doing well. We just gotten through a major snowstorm that occurred about 2 weeks ago, and we were snowed in and wasn't able to go to work that week. But we're back at work, and everything's going all right.
Awesome sauce. So what you calling in for today? You just want to chat here in the cafe, or you got a question, or?
Yes, I got a question. Back on December 30th, when I was flying home from my hometown, my home state of Ohio, into Atlanta, I was waiting for a flight back to Memphis from Atlanta. I met this woman. She also went to my college alma mater, and she was working in Memphis. And I felt this like attraction, but I'm keeping the relationship professional at this time. I'm starting to feel this could become a possibly romantic relationship down the line later this year. And could this happen?
Yeah. Everything I'm getting is really positive. There's a couple of, things. Let's see. When I cut to the heart of matter, I got the Hanged Man. There's a slight delay. This is what you were talking about. It's a delayed thing. I'm glad you said, because I pulled this card and right away I knew about this delay, and I'm thinking, I wonder if Leslie knows. But you already said that, hey, I'm going to keep it professional for a while. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. This is also one of those thinking outside of the box cards. And so the Hanged Man has hung himself upside down so that he can look at the world 180 degrees reversed from the rest of us and see things that other people aren't seeing. So it's talking about taking some time to do that. Okay. Another thing coming through is the Eight of Cups. In fact, I have multiple 8 cards. 8 is success in numerology. So right off the bat, when I see multiple 8 cards, I'm like, yeah, this can be a very fruitful, abundant, prosperous thing in your life, in the realm of romance, relationships, and so forth. When abundance doesn't mean just financial, folks. When it comes up, prosperity and abundance, there are all these different areas of your life, and you can be prosperous and abundant in any of them and all of them. And that's, the whole idea, right? But this Eight of Cups is showing up, and with the Eight of Cups, cups is emotions. And what I think is going on with this, Leslie, is uh as you look at this as a potential new relationship, and we all get excited and things like that, and it's hard to hold off like you're doing, which is really nice that you're able to do that. But this Hanged Man situation, coupled with the Eight of Cups, is taking the time to evaluate everything. And past relationships, it's like, okay, don't make the same mistakes. It's talking about things like that. And also the Eight of Cups is urging you to let go of any of the emotional baggage before. And it's great that there's this delay and that you are on purpose doing a delay and keeping it professional, because it's going to make it so much better, because you'll have time to work through your own things. In relationships, a lot of the problems or issues or not so perfect things going on in relationships really have to do with us and not the other person. We think it's the other person, but it's not. Subconsciously there's this baggage we're holding on to, and everybody's got it, and it goes back forever. It's not just past relationships. I mean, it's all the way back to childhood traumas and everything else. So take the time to look at this, to work on that. And the Ace of Pentacles shows up, the card of the day. So obviously your Ace of Pentacles is this, right? But I love when the card of the day shows up in a reading for any of our callers or people in the chat that day, because it's like the tarot winking at us, right? And the universe winking at us and saying that, yeah, there's this opportunity, right? Yes, it's the pentacles, not the cups, but it's still, a new opportunity. You maybe, like I had the discussion about this card in the beginning of the show. And like I said about leaving the perfect garden, your comfort zone, leaving your comfort zone may be required in this situation. And that's why that's showing up. If you can do all that, though, the Eight of Wands shows up to say, hey, this can happen really quickly. Once you've gone through all that. Okay. So, once you've done the Hangman and the Eight of Cups, right? And then the Ace of Pentacles, prep yourself that you're going to have to leave your comfort zone. Then things just seem to move quickly. Okay. It also gives you time to evaluate the whole thing. The King of Wands is showing up as you, and it's about your fire energy, your passions that you're following, and becoming more passionate maybe in this potential relationship. And the last card is the Three of Wands, your ship's coming in. I think this is sooner than later. He's a merchant, and his ships are coming in now. You know what? I think it relates to how you guys are connected job wise, career wise and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
this is the timing card. It could be as quick as 3 months. I'm getting a 3 month vibe. So, that's
yes,
entirely up to you.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
What what do you think?
Her and I both went to our college alma mater. We both have different degrees, and we both
Mhm.
have master's degrees in higher education. And
Awesome.
that works out in our favor.
Brilliant. Brilliant. See, now you're going to have to call back again and let us know what's going on. By the way, as you're going through all this and you're going through the process of working on yourself, prepping for a relationship, if you need any help with any of that, call in and let us know what you're working on, and we could pull some cards too on that.
Okay.
Thanks for the call, Leslie. Always great to get a
All
call
right.
from.
Thank you, Dax.
Yep. Good luck with that. And I'm pulling for you. I'm hoping for something new and exciting for 2024. Yes, yes. We talked a lot about abundance and prosperity in the beginning of the year here, and a lot of it's been around starting businesses and careers and job, lateral and upward movement in corporations and all this kind of stuff, but we forget about the other areas. What about some abundance in them relationships, right? Doing some shuffling here, doing some shuffling. Okay. Let's gonna go to the next phone line, but let's check in the chat here. Oh, Eric's popping in there. So I think he's got a question. Yeah, okay, I'll read that, Eric, in just a sec here. Anybody that's watching us on YouTube, if you're not in the chat, get in the chat. By the way, if you're watching somewhere, all you got to do is click on the video and that'll open it up in whatever browser you're watching, and then the chat room will appear and you can get into the chat with us. And feel free to ask a question. There's no list to get on for the chat questions. There's no list. There's no waiting. You don't have to go, hey, can I get a reading? Nothing like that. Just in the chat, type, let's say you want a generic message from the universe, just something general, just say, hey, Dax, please pull a card for me. That's all you got to do. And if you happen to have a really, really specific question in a line or two, just type that in. And you only have to put it in once. In fact, if you put it in multiple times, we call that spamming the chat, and we will ignore your question. Okay. And we've only had that ever happen once, but yeah, it gets everything really confused. You only have to put your question in, your request, like pull a card for me, or your specific question. Just type it in once. And then I scroll back to the top of our chat and I go down through the chat. I go down through the chat in the order, that you guys have been chatting. And I take the questions in the order that we get them. Now, a little caveat about that. Had some folks on previous shows in the chat saying that their question was getting skipped or whatever. I think we went to their question after somebody else's question, and they said, "Oh, I put my question in before that person." Well, first of all, it was one. It's not like we made you wait 5 questions before we got to your question. It was one question. But the main thing is that what folks don't realize is what we see here on the studio is different from what you see, because of the processing of the messages and how they are put into the chat by the dynamic system. Whenever you have on a website I build websites, so I know about this stuff. Whenever you have dynamic content, that's, most websites, a lot of it is static, what we call static content. It doesn't change. Dynamic is content that changes. And there's this, I won't go into the technical jargon, but there's processes that have to happen. So I'm sitting on a website, you're sitting on the same website, and somebody else is sitting on the same website. And I message Jane in the same chat room that all three of us are in, and the other person messages, and then Jane messages. The order that the messages pop up in the chat are sometimes different for each person. And that just has to do with the processing and like where you are and how it's being served up by the server. And it gets very technical. But in the chat, what I'm seeing on the YouTube studio side of things is going to be different than what you're seeing. So I may see your question as having come in after somebody else's, and you think it came in before somebody else's. And on your page, it may show it that way. But I'm going by what I see in my chat. Okay. It'll never be off by more than one question, so don't sweat it. Okay. Like right now, I'm looking at the studio and I see the video, but the video is delayed by seconds, multiple seconds. I'm seeing myself, what I said, 3 to 8 seconds ago, delayed. And it's the same thing with the chat. So I just wanted to fill you in on that. We've got Aishika coming in. And again, she asked, may I ask a question? Just to reiterate, you do not have to ask a question. Just ask the question. Okay. So if you want something like a message from the universe, a general thing, just say, Dax, will you please pull a card for me? If you have a specific question, Ashika, just type the question in and I'll get to it in the order that it came in. All righty. So that was just a little bit of, behind the scenes technical housekeeping there with the shows. And especially now that we're on 7 days a week, this is fun. Actually, I was setting up the shows on Blog Talk, on the Blog Talk radio system, as well as on the YouTube system and the Zoom system, because we use Zoom to connect Blog Talk through the phone lines and then to stream the video and the show and what we hear from Blog Talk to YouTube, so it has to be set up in like all these different areas, as well as, the posts on our website, psychic.cafe, and, I setting all this stuff up, and I've got like all these shows, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of work. But it's really cool. What it means is that you can join us in the cafe. I call it the cafe. I'm talking about being here on the shows, on the YouTube lives, on the Blog Talk simulcast every day. And I call it, because our new website, our community website is www.psychic.cafe. It's like, join me in the cafe every day, and grab your latte and tea. And this is just really cool because it's, in addition to doing these mini readings and stuff for everybody and giving people a taste of what it's like, in case you were thinking of, booking a full session or something like that with myself or Maria, Catherine, Michelle, Ellie, Pamela. I'm trying to remember everybody that's coming on the shows now. In addition to that, people have questions about the Tarot Guild. People have questions about becoming a certified reader, becoming a certified psychic advisor, which is actually something new that we're doing this year, because we're Psychic Cafe now. So we're expanding out a little bit. Membership in the guild, which, by the way, if that's your question, yes, we are now open to every kind of practitioner. So yes, it's the Tarot Guild and has been for 20 years, But if you are a psychic advisor, psychic medium, animal communicator, astrologer, Reiki master, I mean, numerologist, tarot reader, whatever it is, clairvoyant, clairsentient, any of the modalities, crystals. Maybe you're a crystal keeper, a crystal master. You're welcome to join the guild. You don't have to be in the tarot at all. We're a professional organization basically for psychic practitioners and spiritual entrepreneurs. And we've always been that way, but we're making, our members in the guild have always had all of these other modalities, angels and Maria, I forgot to mention angel practitioners. Duh. Yeah. So she does the angel practitioners, the International Association of Angel Practitioners. We co-founded that together. Yeah, we've always had that, but we're making an emphasis on it. That's why when we created the new community website for Psychic Talk, our shows, and for the Tarot Guild, we didn't call it like, I don't know, My Tarot Community or something like that. We called it Psychic Cafe for a reason. What's a place that people come together, get readings, get comfortable and chit chat. They go to coffee houses and cafes, and we called it Psychic Cafe because we want to be, inclusive and open. So let's see who's been waiting the longest. It looks like 651. Are you there? Are you ready, caller? 651.
Hi again.
Hey,
it's Christiana again.
I thought that was you. I'm getting to start, just starting to memorize your number, Christiana. By the way, every time you come on, hold on, let me type your name in the slot here so I know it's you on this line, Christiana. The funny thing is, there is a tarot grandmaster named Christiana Godet, and she's been on the show many, 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 many times. And like every time, she's a very famous tarot person, and every time I see your name or hear your name, I think of Christiana Godet. So, wow, I just talked to you yesterday. What happened? What's going on?
There's not too many people with that name. But anyways.
Yes, it's rare.
Yeah, I heard from my doctor, my OBGYN doctor, for my pregnancy, and they said that it's a possibility that something might be wrong with the baby.
Okay.
Because the blood test did not show the gender, and then they usually send up red flags that can be like possible birth defects or something. But this is just possible. It could also be possible that the baby's okay. But I'm just wondering what the cards say. The baby's healthy or not?
Well, we can't really do that kind of a reading technically because it's a health reading. And we stay away from health. I try to stay away from politics and religion when possible. Hopefully you don't live in one of those states where, God forbid, you have, an issue with the fetus and you need an abortion, what do they call that? There's actually a more technical term for it, and you have to travel 3 states over, now because of the Roe v. Wade being struck down. So, you can tell where on what side of the bread is buttered for me, for politics. But let me see here. Sometimes we can pull some cards and, get something on how you're dealing with it and, kind of related things without, directly answering a predictive thing like that, because we don't want to get in trouble. Remember, we're not doctors, we're not lawyers, we're not CPAs. We can't give legal advice. We can't give health advice. We can't give financial advice. And, we kind of do, we kind of skirt the issues, you know, a little bit here and there. And there are readers out there, psychics and tarot readers and stuff like that just outright, you know, I mean, in fact, some of them label themselves as health intuitives, you know, that's highly illegal depending on what part of the world and what municipality you're in. You know, I mean, you can't do that. You really can't.
Yeah, it is a liability.
It's a huge liability.
I'm sorry
you know?
for asking.
And it's different when you're in a one-on-one reading with somebody. You know, I've done things in readings that I would not do on air. I'm just going to put it that way. Okay. Because when you're doing a private reading with somebody, and that's another reason to get a private reading. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, folks, they're 50% off.
I'm going to be getting
shameless plug right there. Shameless plug. Yeah, they're 50% off right now. You know, that's why you do a private reading, you know, because
yeah. Can I switch my question?
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me just finish up because I'm not just talking to you. Remember, I'm talking to thousands of people out there, and I just want everybody to realize when they call in for readings here on the shows, and this is supposed to be light, and we're supposed to be doing. I mean, we can only spend 2 to 5 minutes with each caller or question in the chat. So, you know, we're not going to tackle the in-depth questions because in order to do them, we have to spend 20, 30, 40 minutes with you at a minimum and pull lots of cards, lots of spreads, going through things, asking, re-asking, and, you know, changing our questions on things in order to get, you know, to get through and get as much detail as possible, because tarot cards, you know, there's the psychic aspect of it, and you get what we call psychic hits, which are intuition and things popping in, and it might be clairsentient, it might be clairvoyant, what's the auditory, clairauditory, you know, kind of thing. We might see it, smell it, hear it, feel it, you know, kind of thing. But in general, you know, I look at a card and the card isn't telling me really specific in relation. The way we get to specificity is by working with the questions and pulling additional cards, and that takes time, you know, and we don't have the time to do it on air. So folks, I'm just telling everybody out there, not just Christiana, I'm talking to all of us, all of you out in the audience, you know, if you have an in-depth question or a question that's delicate, okay, something highly personal, you know, like pregnancy, or, you know, a lot of things can be highly personal. You know, I just had a reading the other day and we were talking about an estranged son, and, you know, it's not something people that want to talk about on air. You know, book a private session with somebody at the cafe. You know, it doesn't have to be me, you know, it could be any of our certified psychic advisors and tarot readers at psychic.cafe. You know, book a session private with these kind of things. Okay. And then we'll go a little deeper than we're able to go live on air, because unlike most people doing readings, when we do these readings, you know, we are out there in the public and everybody is seeing it. So we have to be even more careful about what we're doing. So Christiana, if you want to change your question, what do you want to change your question to?
It's trailing off of the one I asked the other day, but it was about the nightmares, and not the devil ones, but
not the devil one.
The ones about someone. No, her initial to her first name is L, as in lamp, and I have a lot of nightmares about this woman, and I'm just wondering if this is all me or if some of her energy is really coming across in the dream.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, yeah, that we can find out about that. Now, is this somebody that is an acquaintance, a friend, family member? How do you know this person, L?
They used to be, I'd say, like a friend.
Okay.
But they,
Like an acquaintance
I was
slash
in love
friend.
with them, and I feel,
You were in love with them,
yeah,
but
and
were
I
they
feel
in love
they
with you?
caused she did care for me, but she never said that, oh, I'm in love with you. But
Okay. It's like an unrequited love or whatever they call it. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But so
yeah.
you're dreaming about this person. Oh, why is it a nightmare? Is bad things happening in it?
Yeah.
I'm curious
Like
about that.
I'm okay. I'm usually incarcerated by them, and they're like the guard, and
Interesting.
I'm being like abused and stuff.
Da, 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 da. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Oh, this is just fascinating stuff here. Okay. So, wow. This is really, really cool. And the tarot people out there are going to totally get this, right? So the Nine of Swords shows up, which is, literally waking up in the middle of the night because of nightmares, right? And then the Moon card, which is about dreams. And for those cards to show up in a reading about this, it just goes to show you, it's like the universe winking at us, right? The World card is showing up with the Wheel of Fortune card, okay? And what this is talking about is the cycles that we're going through, and with the World card, this particular instance is talking about the collective conscious. And when you're in the dream state, okay, that's when your critical thinking mind is shut down, and you're in an alpha state or lower, right? In your alpha brain, you're in your brain waves. So normally we're in a beta, and then we go down into alpha, and then the lower ones, gamma, delta. And when you're in that state, alpha or lower, you're highly connected to your subconscious mind. So that allows direct communication with your higher self, which is part of a collective called the collective consciousness. Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, talked about this. Okay. That's why there's no such thing. Well, how should I put, what's the old saying? Okay, there's nothing new under the sun. And the reason why people use that phrase is because there isn't. It's like it's all been processed before. It's in the collective conscious, and we have access to that. So when you have artists and they're talking about, I don't know, I just woke up and started strumming my guitar and started writing this song down, and it was like it wasn't even me, it was just coming off my fingertips. What they're talking about is they've downloaded this from the collective consciousness. And a lot of art is this way. Even when we think that we're the one generating something, a novel, or we're writing something, or whatever.
You said
a lot of
the
times
collective
the collective consciousness, which is the consciousness of all the people, all 9 billion people on the planet put together, in addition to every conscious that has existed before. So it's everything, it's the totality. Okay. And so through that, we have connection to everybody else. And so you hear people say all the time, especially spiritual gurus, we're all connected. We're all connected. What does that mean? Well, that's what it means. We are all connected. All of our consciousnesses, our real self, they're all connected. And there's actually, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, there's only one consciousness. And, the way I try to describe it to people so they can kind of it's hard to wrap your head around that. To get an idea is, I go, think of a vast ocean. All right. And you're looking out on the ocean, and it's kind of choppy and wavy, and you see this wave come up, and then you see a wave over there come up, and then imagine you were able to freeze frame that. So the wave comes up and you freeze frame it, and this other wave over here, and you can name it now. You can say, okay, that's wave A, and that's wave B over there. But are they? Aren't they still part of the same vast ocean? They are. It's just momentarily for a fraction of seconds, this wave is up in the air where it can be identified as having its own consistency. And then it flows back down, falls back down into the vast sea. That's how we are and how consciousness is. There's only one consciousness. And us as people, we are a wave of consciousness that pops up and stays up there for like, say, 70, 80, 90 years, and then falls back into the collective conscious. That's the reality of it.
You know what's crazy? You mentioned Jung.
Mentioned what?
She was what they call, you mentioned Jung.
Oh yeah, Carl Jung.
And she was she was what they call a Jungian or Jungian, however you pronounce it.
Oh yeah.
And she was a shaman too. So she was really into that, all of that.
Oh, that's funny. So she was a follower of Jung. That's really fascinating. Yeah.
Yes.
So the cards I'm getting here
and
are
a shaman too.
It's saying that, maybe some of her consciousness is able in your dreams to flow into your dream state, and you're able to connect. And that's the mechanism. I'm showing the mechanism, how that's possible. When we you've heard of lucid dreaming, and you've heard of out of body experiences during dream state. It's not something that's only going on in our heads. We are physically, literally, our consciousness coming out of our body, and we're able to do this. We're able to be in other places, go to other places, see other people, even communicate with them. And we're through lucid dreaming, we're even able to manipulate our dreams, and it allows us to gain information that we wouldn't otherwise be able to access. So that's kind of what I feel is going on here. And it could be both, by the way.
What's ironic is she was actually a prison guard when in one of her careers she was the prison guard. So,
well, sometimes it's as simple as our subconscious playing tricks on us too, because you already know that information, which means your subconscious knows that information, which means they can take that information. Yeah. It can take that information, and it can create this dreamscape, hellish nightmare where you're in prison and she's the prison guard, because it knows that she was at one point. So it can be pure fantasy, but also, from what I'm getting in the cards, it's also talking about how through the collective conscious, because we're asleep, because we are in the alpha or delta or lower states and brainwave patterns, and we're able to connect to the collective consciousness through our higher self, our higher consciousness, through the subconscious mind. We're able to connect with them and exchange information, especially if they're in dream state at the same moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's because you already know that information about her. I wouldn't be surprised if, it's because sometimes a dream is just a dream, and I just get the feeling like that it's more likely, a fantasy dream thing than her consciousness coming into yours in reality.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was a combination of everything.
It
But
probably is, all the things you're going through and how you're feeling, because we've talked multiple times now. I know about all these different things going on with you, and so yeah, it's a lot. And when I looked at it, I was getting a possible yes, but nothing strong, concrete. So it's not that it isn't possible that it's a communication. I just think it's unlikely. So I hope that helped you out. And go ahead and book a private reading, and we can get into other topics deeper and so forth. But thanks for calling in again, Christiana.
Okay, thank you for the reading.
All righty. Yeah, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And tune in tomorrow, because I will be back with Pamela Steele. Hey, before we take another call, I'm going to take a look at what's going on here at the Guild. First of all, shows daily. Wanted to mention that. And of course, as always, grab us a cup of coffee. Go over to psychic.cafe/coffee. If you're enjoying the shows, if you got a great reading from us, that's a great way to thank us. And maybe you just want to send some love. Psychic.cafe/coffee. Also, remember, if you're going to say call in tomorrow and you want to be first up, go over there and buy us a cup of coffee, and then let me know. And you can message me on the website. Go to my page, and I'm going to say, let me bring up the page real quick. Psychic.cafe/coffee. Sorry. That's the URL to do the tip. But go after you do that, go over to psychic.cafe/Dax to my page. Now you have to be signed into the website to send a message. So go ahead and sign up on the website. It's free to join the website. You can join with your social media. There's all the buttons there, for Google and Twitter X and Facebook and everything, and LinkedIn and Instagram and what have you. Or you can just click that big green button that says join us. It's free, and it's going to ask you to put in a username, a password, and your email address. And in seconds, you'll be on the site. Go to psychic.cafe/Dax. Say, hey, Dax, here's my phone number. Here's my name. I'm going to call in on the show tomorrow, and I've made a donation. I bought you a cup of coffee, and we will bring you on first. You're going to be the first caller. No waiting. In fact, we're going to not even do the cards of the day or anything like that. We're going to go right to you. Also, the New Year sale, of course, don't forget that. And I'll say to Christiana and everybody that's thinking of booking a private session, if you're booking it with me, that's the best place to go. And it's psychic.cafe/New Year. But right on the main page, on the community page of Psychic Cafe, you'll see this banner. So scroll down. It's pinned to the top. So it's the first or second post. Just click on this banner. It'll take you over to all the information. Scroll down a bit on the page. You'll see my readings. You can book a reading with me for $49.99, which is $50 off what I normally charge for a full private session. Full private sessions are usually $99.99, and they run about 20, 30, 40 minutes, depending on, how deep we need to go in it. I don't put a timer on my readings like other people do. I don't charge by the minute. I don't charge by, 20-minute session, 30-minute session versus 45-minute session, 60-minute session. It takes as long as it takes, and it's $99.99. But right now for the new year, it's on sale, 50% off, $49.99. Also, grab our lifetime membership. If you're thinking of becoming a professional reader, professional psychic advisor, if you're thinking of getting certified at the Guild, joining the Guild, and starting off 2024 with the new business, or if you've been in the profession for 20, 30 years and you just want to get certified, join the Guild and join us and promote your products and services on Psychic Cafe for 2024, it would behoove you to get the 75% off lifetime membership, because then you're paid up for life. Because we are going to start right now. You go and join the website. It's 100% free, and there'll always be a free membership for Psychic Cafe. But we're going to start a subscription up, a monthly subscription, possibly an annual subscription, and the lifetime membership is going to go away. And that monthly subscription is going to go up itself in 6-month increments, because we're going to start off like really low for early adopters. But the value that we're giving, basically we're, giving you a website. We're, giving you a platform to promote on. We're giving you these shows, podcasts, radio shows, YouTube. So much is involved in this membership that, it's really worth a lot more than what we charge. So if you grab the lifetime membership, you pay $78 once, and you're grandfathered in against all of that. Okay. And we won't be doing the lifetime membership again until, maybe Black Friday, maybe 2025. And it'll be like $297. It's not going to be $78 again. It's not going to happen again. So go ahead and sign up for that. Compassionate Light. I was going to mention, her next show is coming here. Let's see, where is that? Oh, okay. So Catherine's doing a new series of shows starting on Fridays. Next Friday, like I already mentioned, she couldn't be on yesterday, so she's going to record the wrap up for January, but she'll be back live next Friday. And she's actually, she does these series of shows where the 4 or 5 Fridays in a month, she hits a different aspect of a particular topic. Well, she's going to be doing a 3-month topic, healing. And it's something about, God, I should have wrote it down, but it's healing through body, soul, and spirit. And each month it'll be talking about one of those 3 aspects. And then the individual shows of the month will be going through like aspects of that topic. Okay. So that's starting next Friday. And then of course, February 4th, the 1st and 3rd Sundays actually, but Marie will be back on, and I'm going to join her as guest co-host, The Angelic View, on February 4th. And she'll be going through who are the angels in the Angelic View Oracle cards deck. She'll be talking about the angels and their attributes and things like that, and why she has these particular angels in her deck. So yeah, tune in for that. It's coming up in a week. Awesome. So just a little quick what's going on there. I'm going to pop over to the chat here. And I got to cut the show short a little bit, because I got some things I need to do, and it's the end of the month, I have beginning of the month stuff at the American Legion and stuff like that. So I can't go my normal like 2 hours that I've been doing. Eric said, how can I find out what lessons I'm supposed to learn from my experience with a special needs son? Okay. I'm constantly getting my head kicked in and have no idea what I'm supposed to do. So when you say, Eric, when you say getting your head kicked in, from the situation, from your son, literally, or from the situation, from, the school, the powers that be, the doctors, or everything and above. Give me a little heads up on if you can, on what to look at for this. And yeah, we can generally pull general cards on a particular topic, you know, and we can squeeze out some information, and if we have more time with you, we can get even more information over time. But when we can only spend a couple of minutes with you, the most specific you can make the question, the better it's going to be. The more specific you are, the better tarot works. Tarot works very specifically. Very specifically. Okay. So let's see. I can't help him with his mental health conditions. Are you sure you can't help him? I'm not getting you can't help him. But what's coming up in the cards is working with other people. Yes, you shouldn't feel like you're out by yourself with this alone. Okay. When you have a special needs child, you've got the teachers, and typically there's a special needs area. I think Maria used to do this. Maria, didn't you do this when you were teaching? Didn't you teach special needs? So there's that whole the educational system. There's the medical system, your doctor, and maybe multiple doctors and multiple people involved there. There could be counselors that you can bring in, and as is the case in this card, multiple people each having their own part that they work on, coming together as a whole. And remember that the individual parts, the whole is greater than all these individual parts, right? 3 heads, 4 heads, 5 heads are better than one, so you have to take care of your own mental health. That's paramount. You need someone to talk to. So one of these people should be your own personal psychologist or counselor, or somebody that you talk to. That's number one. The special needs child, depending on the age, when they get into a certain age, they should have their own counselor. Then you got the doctor, you've got the teacher, they got you over here, it's a team effort. It's got to be a team effort. And then as far as you dealing, okay, the strength card's showing up. Okay. And then structure. Okay. Also, 4 of Wands is celebration. So, okay, so multi-layers I'm getting there. You need to establish structure, which is going back to this card, going back to the team, but also happy times ahead. I really think this is talking about, celebrate the celebrations, celebrate the times that are really good when you're doing a birthday party with your special needs child. When they do excel at some point with something, celebrate the wins, celebrate the little wins and the big wins, celebrate, but also establish this structure that's going to allow you to get through it. No one makes it through that kind of a situation. And it's other situations beyond just special needs. No one makes it through without the right foundation and the right team. You got to have the right team. Another thing I'm going to give you is that hypnotherapy can help you a lot with this. Seek out a local hypnotherapist, preferably somebody that also knows neurolinguistics, NLP, and they will be able to help you greatly, beyond what you do with your counselor. Talk therapy is great. I think you should do that too, just so you have an outlet. And it could be one of us. It could be a psychic advisor. It could be a therapist. It could be a social worker, anybody along those lines. But you also want a practitioner in the helping arts in the area of neurolinguistics or preferably hypnosis. And they will be able to help you out greatly with this. So I'm going to leave you with that little suggestion there. I've been doing clinical hypnotherapy for 20 years. So I know that people come in with these issues and they need some help at a psychological and specifically at a subconscious level to deal. Also EFT, emotional freedom technique, is going to help you a lot. Seek out a practitioner of EFT. Okay, so I hope that helped you out. I know it's tough, and Eric says he's an adult, 21. Okay, great. At least he's at the right age where he has his he can have his own therapist. You have your own therapist. You can go to the hypnotherapist depending on his level of cognitive ability. NLP and hypnosis may or may not help him. It might. Anybody, with a high enough IQ and high enough functioning, even on the spectrum, is able to take advantage of hypnosis, are able to get into an alpha state, are able to be guided through hypnosis. Some people aren't. So the only people, you hear people go, oh, I can't be hypnotized. No, everybody is hypnotized every single day that has an IQ over 80 and 70, 80 and roughly, and is not on medication for mental illness and doesn't have a diagnosed mental illness, then, and that covers most of us, right? So most of us can. The only people that can't take advantage of hypnosis are people that can't focus and so therefore can't be guided into an alpha state. And those are people that are on some parts of the spectrum. And there's also, where they are in the IQ area as well, as to whether they're able to, that just comes down to, being able to take direction, So him being 21, he might be able to be helped with hypnosis. If it's somebody that can't go into hypnosis, a lot of times NLP will still work because you don't go into a hypnotic state with NLP. Tapping will also work, EFT, even if you're unable to do hypnosis. Okay, so there's a lot of different avenues to check, and a lot of people, they take all this on themselves when really you need to build a team. Normally, this all automatically happens in these situations because they're identified at a certain age by the medical profession. You get involved with specialists, and then in school, and then in the school there's specialists, and a team forms on its own. So if you have a team, weigh heavily more on the team. If you don't have a team, which should have happened already, he's 21, but if it hadn't happened, if it hasn't happened, if it happened and the team broke up because he got older, establish a new team. Make that your goal for 2024, that you're going to put everything in place. Your hypnotherapist, NLP, EFT practitioner, your counselor, and if he needs continuing education, put all, the doctors, the medical professionals, put all of this together in a team. Let's see. I was asking Charlotte if she called in because I saw this number that looked like Charlotte's, and then it dropped off, and I was going to say, hey, call back in. Got a call from a friend. Spiritual Odyssey is in here, and Phoenix spelled with an F-E. Oh, I like that because I'm next to Phoenix, spelled phonics with a PH, and I'm in Tucson, and I love that spelling of Phoenix. That would be great for a business in Phoenix when you don't want to use PHOENIX. I can't even spell it without writing it down. That's really cool. Really cool. If there's time, pull a card for me, Spiritual Odyssey. Okay, I'm not only just pulling a card, I'm shuffling and everything. See if we can get something good for Spiritual Odyssey. Okay. That's funny. That's funny. Okay, so I shuffled and let's see. Okay. Oh, this is really funny. So here I am, I'm like shuffling like crazy, right? And I do this now because this deck is the gold foil deck is so easy. It's PVC material. It's so easy to shuffle that I shuffle between everything, right? And before I used to shuffle once before the show, and that was it because it was so hard to shuffle during the show, and especially in between, every single call and every single question in the chat over the last 14 years, but now it's really cool. And what's been happening is like I'm getting a lot of there's the opportunity for the same cards to keep coming up and stuff like that. So I got similar cards. So Spiritual Odyssey, I got what I just got for Eric, with this Three of Pentacles. So like a project you might be working on with other people. And then the card of the day pops in. The Hierophant. Yes, and I love when the card of the day shows up in these readings, And it's that, 3 energy is creativity and communication. 5 energy, it can spiral down into chaos, but there's a lot of energy there to get things done. So with this project, conforming to social norms or in that industry how things are normally done, or whatever project you're building, how it's supposed to be, maybe, like my advice from the beginning of the show with the cards of the day, numerology of the day, how can you do it different, and then also wise counsel, who can you go to, or higher learning that will help with whatever this is. Okay, so there we go. And let's see who was next. Felix. Did you have something, Felix? I could have sworn, but maybe not. So Phoenix, not Felix. Phoenix. And Phoenix said, "Ha, good work, Dax. My question. So this is Isa, and I forgot there was the Ashika. So Ashika's question about Prene. Ooh, this is keeping you up at night, which also came up, earlier with Christiana's question there. So there's still a possibility, I mean, he's showing up as the Page of Cups, and that's positive. And normally, and cups are emotions, and often with the Page of Cups, there's a message with all the pages. Knights too can do this, but especially the Knight of Cups, he's literally bringing something. But the Page of Pentacles, yeah, I'm sorry, the page the Page of Cups, yeah. I think he's still, he's looking at the cup there. I think he still has the feelings for you, or does have the feelings for you. So if anything's holding you back, it's this. Look at all those swords. Again, when that shows up, overthinking things, overthinking. And now over to Aisha's Solomon question. Wait a minute, didn't you ask about Solomon just a couple of shows ago? I don't know. Maybe not. I'll pull cards on it, but folks, don't ask about the same thing that we already answered over and over and over and over again. First of all, we're not going to do it, and it's not, but most importantly, it's not helping you. It's not helping you. If we've answered the question, then what's the next question? Okay. That's a better way to do it. That's a better way to do it. Okay. So it looks like Solomon having issues with, balancing funds and, finances and all that kind of thing, kind of juggling things. However, there's definite hope there. We've got the success card 6, on his staff or rod. It's wands, but it's actually a staff or a rod. He's got the laurel leaf on there, which is a symbol of success. On his head is a laurel leaf, symbol of success. Okay. And there's the little buds on each one of the stabs there, and that's growth. So there's some kind of growth that needs to happen, obviously, with the relationship here. But there's definitely still a possibility for your relationship with Solomon. Who was first name, last name? I'd love to know when I'm going to move to a more comfortable place. Oh, that's interesting. So first name, last name, one of our regulars. I call her first or him first. We established that at one point. I think it's a her first. Anyway, I can't remember. See if we can do some timing. Oh, okay. Interesting. So yeah, it definitely can happen. And we're getting the Ace of Wands, new opportunity in that area. However, it looks like there's a decision to be made. And so are you just not going for it or something? Because, when I get in my readings, the Two of Swords, the person is either unable or unwilling to make the decision. They're blindfolded, and they're refusing to take the blindfold off and decide one way or another. Okay, so there's some kind of decision that needs to be made. And then I'm getting the 8 of Swords. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words, but I'm trying to go fast, get as many as I can because I need to get out of here. It's 1:30. And I was supposed to cut off at 1 today, but having way too much fun with you guys. Okay, 8 of Swords. As I always say, 8, abundance. So yes, but look at all those swords, and she's blindfolded too. Okay. So it's not when, it's if. And if it's like, when are you going to get off your butt and do it? I mean, it has nothing to do with this, when am I going to move? It's like you just need to first name, you just need to decide and do it and go for it and get the thoughts out of your own way. Literally your own thoughts are holding you back. It's overthinking it. But if you need timing, you were saying, when 8. It could happen as quick as 8 days, but I'm thinking 8 weeks. So 2 months. That's not bad. It's not super long from now, right? Okay. And yeah, and Eric was filling us in on, when he told us that his son's an adult, he's 21, can't help him with his mental health conditions, and it's tough to find help. Yeah, well, it is. It's tough. It is. It can be done though. And let's see. Spiritual Odyssey says, wish you the very best, Chris. I don't know who the Chris is. That Spiritual Odyssey, who are you talking about is the Chris? Parent advocacy in your area. Okay, I think Spiritual Odyssey is talking about Eric. It's Eric, not Chris. And yeah, that is a lot of good advice there. There's agencies, there's government agencies, there's teachers, there's parent advocacy groups to search out. If you can't find it in your area, look beyond your area, the next major city. Go on meetup.com and search for parent advocacy, especially in the area of special needs. I had trouble with my daughter years ago and found help there. Yes. So great advice there, Spiritual Odyssey. You should be able to find help for an adult child too through advocacy. And, it depends on their level of functioning. I mean, if they're really disabled in that area, then they should be on disability and have access to free help. Because I have friends that are disabled in other ways, that are on SSI, for life, and they have Medicare and have access, and they also have their, state, whatever it is, medical, and between the combination of those, everything's paid for, and you should be able to get help, or you should be able to find someone that can show you how to get the help. Let's see. Okay, so we already did first name. Okay, need finances, more stability in my career first. That's why I've been buying it myself. Yes, yes. So that's part of it. It's just Eight of Swords reflecting your situation, but I still think part of it's on you. Trapped by your own thoughts, and then the Two of Swords, trapped by your inability to make a decision. I know you think in your mind, and this happens all the time on these shows, and in readings in general. People think they've made the decision to do it when subconsciously they're not 100% on board with doing it. It's just like someone that comes to me for they want to stop smoking or something, they want to quit smoking. Yeah, well, maybe you're in your analytical mind, maybe your everyday thinking mind, but you haven't made that decision for yourself in your subconscious mind. That's why you're still smoking. Yeah. So that's everything in chat. And then I'm going to go back over here. Should I take another call? There's a lot of calls. Yeah, I guess I'll take one more. But to everybody, if I can't get to your call, and I think I got to all the questions in chat, but if I didn't get to your question in chat, didn't get your question take care of in a call or something like that, call in tomorrow, 714-816-4628. Write that down, and we'll be on here 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. London, UK. Call in tomorrow's show. Let's see, area code 917. I'm going to go. Are you there, 917?
Yes,
hello,
I am.
hello.
How are you doing?
Hey, great. I got to connect with you. You're the last call. Woohoo. What's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Thank you. My name is Ashiel, and I'm calling from New York City. Yeah.
Great to chat with you. What do you want to talk about?
Thank you. Love. What's coming up?
With the love?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you seeing anybody now? I'm not that kind of psychic, so you actually have to tell me.
No, I don't want to. I'm not seeing anybody right now. I was interested in two people since like last summer or so, but I just felt like it was an equal give and take. So I'm pretty much, just moving on from that and just going to the next person. Looking for somebody who's going to be more compatible with me.
Sure. Yeah, my cards are flying all over the place. Okay, so we're doing a little shuffling here. I want to see. Oh, okay. I'm going to put your line on hold because there's some scary background noise there, Sheil. So I'm going to do some really quick shuffling here. Cut to the heart of the matter. See what's going on. Okay. Oh, hey, that hangman showed up again. Okay. Sheil, there's a couple layers of information coming through with the hangman. One is that, it's just pointing out the delay, Also, this is card 12. 1 + 2 is 3. That's creativity, communication. And the hangman has, and I mentioned this before when the hangman came up, that previous today, that the hangman shows up because he's hung himself upside down to experience the world 180 degrees reverse from the rest of us, to see things that we aren't seeing. And part of that is using one's creativity and communication. And so that's why it's card 12. 1 + 2 is 3, creativity and communication. Okay. So you need to be looking at new areas and getting creative with this. In other words, you said the last two people you've been interested in and it wasn't reciprocal was like last summer. We're coming up on, I mean, I know it's a ways away, but I mean, to me, I mean, summer's coming now, I mean, it's not going to be almost a year here, and once again, like it is for a lot of this stuff and a lot of these readings, I keep going back over and over. I sound like a broken record, but it's true. It's so true. If you just listen to this one prospect, this one concept, from Einstein, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Okay. So whatever it is that you're doing in relationships or whatever you're doing, places you're going, things like that, to meet people and so forth, it's not working. You need to try new things. So that's why the Hangman showed up. The Hangman is talking about thinking outside the box. It's one of 3 or 4 thinking outside the box cards in tarot that keep popping up, and using your creativity is what it's talking about, as well as your communication skills. Maybe you need to work on your communication skills a little more. Okay. And how you communicate with women, and assuming it's women, women or men, however, it is. And I mean, literally, there are entire YouTube channels dedicated to how you communicate with the fairer sex. Okay. Or just how you communicate with people in general. If it's if you're in the guys, I mean, but so watch those YouTube channels. Take a course on Udemy for $10 that's going to teach you how to be comfortable and how to approach people and how to talk to them and the right way to go about it and everything like that. I am not the person to ask that. I'm going to tell you right now, I am not the person for this. No. But then the 9 of Pentacles shows up, and I think this is the self-made woman card. And in these situations, when this particular card shows up, a lot of the times, if I'm dealing with a female client, her in the relationship, she is a little too independent. When I'm dealing with a male client, and we're talking about either their girlfriend or potential girlfriends, the difficulty is around that, So with these other 2 people from the past, I think that might have been the problem, that they were a little too independent. So yeah, the message from the tarot is, the Hangman, start looking at this a little different, Then what comes up is the 7 of Cups. Actually, this is a really good sign, because often some of the meaning of the 7 of Cups is talking, 7 is the highest spiritual number. It's the number of the seeker. Okay. And a lot of times this comes up when there's a lot of choices. So what I think is going to happen here is that if you can get your handle on this with the by the way, I wanted to mention that 9 of Pentacles card was a card that flew out of the deck while I was shuffling. So, it wanted to be seen that that's what was going on with that. And then if you can get through this situation, if you can watch those YouTube videos, take the Udemy course, and, look at the world upside down and, think outside the box, think of new ways of meeting people, join one of those meetup groups that I was just talking about, completely different situation, but, there's a meetup group for everything. Okay. Then you're going to have like all kinds of different possibilities. Another time, another thing about the 7 of Cups and what might be going on, because tarot is multi-layered and gives us multiple information, layers of information. And a lot of times there's fantasy here in the 7 of Cups. So you've built up a fantasy of how a relationship is supposed to be, and that's holding you back. Okay. Then the 2 of Cups shows up. Very positive. Okay, now things are starting to roll. I'm still not getting a person though. So that's actually what I'm looking for here, is I'm trying to get to a person. Wow. Okay. Okay. Wow. It's just going and going and going. And there's a lot more information here, but I just don't have time to go through it all. But, the Two of Cups shows up, the Two of Swords shows up. Two is relationships, right? And so the Two of Cups means that it could happen and it's ready to happen. There's something left to be done, which we've already discussed what those are. Two of Swords, again, that's another card that showed up for a previous caller. It's unwilling or unable to make a decision around something. So you need to like go for it is what's coming up. But I am getting no people. And what I mean from a tarot perspective is when I get this kind of question, I start laying out cards, I start seeing what the tarot is saying, and I'm looking as I go out farther and farther, I'm looking for a court card to show up. Page, Queen, King, 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 Queen, Knight, Page. Yeah, okay. Make sure I get them all there. And it ain't happening. And we're several cards out. Okay, so that means that really you've got to do this shift. Oh, Death card shows up, which is literally a shift. One door closes, another door opens. The sun is coming up. It's dawning. It's a new day is dawning with this card. You need to make a shift for this to happen. That's why no one's showing up yet. Okay, yet. But the timing on this is 8. 8 is abundance, so maybe we'll get there. But it's 8 weeks out at a minimum. Unless you make it happen faster. But the shift has to happen, whatever that is. So I hope that helped you out. I'm gonna get out of here, folks. Thanks everybody in the chat room. What is Tarot Grand Lux? Yellow asks. Oh, Tarot Grand Lux is by Ciro Marchetti. You can check it out right here. I'll pop it up here. Psychic.cafe / LUXE. So Lux, it can be spelled, different people drop the E sometimes. If they're spelling Lux, they'll do LUX. It's LUXE. So psychic.cafe / LUXE Lux. That'll take you right over to it. It's the Tarot Grand Lux by Ciro Marchetti. That's the card back. Fantastic images. He's a digital artist. Okay, so he's got these fantastic images in this deck. Comes with a nice little book, Tarot Grand Lux. It's not like your typical, just little white book. It's like a little white book. If you've had those in tarot, little bit more information per card and a little nicer presentation, than paper thrown together, which is how they typically are. And it has this nice border. You can see the border. I typically love borderless cards, but there's something about this deck that I really like with that border. What happens with a lot of the cards, or at least some of the cards, he'll put in an element where something in the image is going over top of the outer border, and it gives a 3-dimensional look to the card. And I just love that. Look at the bottom of the wand. The bottom of the wand. See, it's outside of, so it's making like a window, and I love that. I love that. One of the earliest science fiction movies I ever watched that had time travel in it, they stepped through a window, and that was the time portal, and I get that same vibe with these cars, like I'm stepping through a portal. Look at the paw on the cat and the cat's ear. Love that. Some of them are more pronounced, and one of my favorite ones is the Hermit, but I don't know if I'll be able to find that. Oh, I did. Okay, there we go. That's probably my favorite card in the deck. I just love this card, the way he did that. Where the Hermit's head he's got the same thing as a traditional hermit in tarot cards, where he's holding it with his arm, the light, and his head, but it blends into, instead of standing on a mountain range, he's blending into the mountain range and the waterway, the stream below, which is like the river of life. And he's shining his light of wisdom, and the lantern pops out, and his hand a little bit, beyond the border, which is like he's stepping through. It gives that three-dimensional look to it. So there you go. That, yes, stunning images. Yellow says yes, absolutely. Go and check out the deck, psychic.cafe/Lux, and grab a copy of this, because it's just woo. I got to do a review on this. And it's funny that you asked about that deck, because literally either late yesterday, early today, or something. Anyway, I was thinking about that. Like, I need to do some reviews, and I want to start with, that's my absolute favorite. I have other Trio Marchetti decks. I've got lots of other, different ones. But Tarot Grand Lux is probably my absolute favorite. I use it sometimes on these shows, but I mostly stick with the gold foil deck, which is just a standard weight Smith deck, but it is so beautifully done with the gold foil that it looks really pretty, up on camera. But the main thing is because of the shuffling. It's so much easier to shuffle. Like the Grand Lux, I think is a, I'll have to double check this, and I'll do this in my review. I think it's a touch taller. It's harder for me to put my hand around it. This, I can grab it and you can squeeze it. It doesn't matter because it's PV material. No matter how you squeeze this, it's going to go, right back perfect, and so it's going to age really well. It's not going to this stuff is not going to rub off. It's not going to get frayed on the edges. It's not going to lose its coloring. It's waterproof. It's weatherproof. So I use this deck a lot on the shows. But as far as working with a client, especially in person, the Grand Lux, I love using that for that. Okay. So everybody have a great weekend, and I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to start this all over again, and Pamela Steele will be with me. So bye, everybody.